Hi, friend. I'm going to give it a sec to get going. I think there's a couple second disconnect. Tonight, it's copycat night. This is a restaurant favorite of mine. If you've never made curry before, stick around. I'm going to give you some tips that are going to help you level out your fake out, take out, copycat, restaurant copycats. So, answer me this as we get going, because I think this would be helpful. I was actually thinking about doing this as a separate post, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just say it now or ask now. What's something that you've done to adjust your grocery budget or just your overall spending? So one of the things that we've done is we've cut back our restaurant going out to eat. So I'm going to recreate some of our favorites at home. And this is a perfect example of that. If you've never made a curry, it's tough to do that. Do this under $5. I'm going to just be straight with you there. You got to get the chicken on sale. You got to be looking for produce sales. And then the canned coconut milk. Actually, the cheapest place I've ever found it is Trader Joe's. So this is one way that we are going to be adjusting our overall personal finance to help with, that it almost costs $100 to fill up our car, which is insane. So tell me what you are going to be adjusting in your spending. I think less out to eat is a great first start. If you like to go out and have a drink with your meal, alcohol is real expensive, friends. Micro adjustments matter when we're in this sort of tough economic environment. But I want to just ask you that straight out. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to learn how to make a curry. I'm going to teach you how to cut a bell pepper. You might have seen me do this before. I'm going to show you this again. Okay, right here, I have the rice. I am going to serve this with white rice. That's going to go in the bottom of the bowl, and then this beautiful curry that we're going to make here is going to be what we do right now. So before we do that, I need to do a couple of things. I'm going to cut these bell peppers. I'm going to show you my hack for that. I need to open these cans of coconut milk and coconut cream. I'm going to show you those in a second. And then I need to cut the chicken into bite-sized pieces, okay? Let me see if I can get you a little closer. And then once all that's ready, we will start to assemble. I'm trying to move slowly here. That's a little better. That's better. Okay. All right. So how to cut a bell pepper. So what you're going to do is you're going to line your knife up notch to notch. First, I'm going to rinse this up. First, we're going to clean these guys. I thought I did that earlier and I did not. Okay. Then we're going to line up our knife notch to notch, and I'm going to show you. You're going to be like mind blown by this little trick. If you've never seen me do this before, I feel like I've shared this dozens of times over the years, but I'm going to share it again because, oh, you can see my computer there. Sorry, this is a little tricky. My other camera died. Okay. You line your knife up, the blade, the sharp part, notch to notch, like this. Okay, can you see that okay? Like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to slice down along the notches and look at that beautiful core. Okay, we're going to let that rice naturally release. No seeds, no mess. Then you're going to go to the next notch. We lost a few seeds there. One seed down. Okay, so 2 sections. This recipe that I have linked here in the comments, it's also linked on the video, calls for a red pepper and an orange pepper. Orange, you just need 2 bell peppers, okay? I'm doing red and green. Green is a little bit more bitter than I would prefer maybe, but the red, yellow, and orange are much sweeter and will pair very nicely with the curry as well as the pineapple that we're going to be adding. Okay, so I'm just going to cut these so they'll shrink a little bit when they cook. I want them to be somewhat bite-sized. So we're going to do the same thing. Even with this awkwardly shaped, I'm going to start on the outside. This looks more like jalapeno. or like a mulatto pepper, the way that it grew. But I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna start on the outside, and I'm gonna cut down just like that. No seeds. So when you go notch to notch like that, this one actually be a good example. Look at what happens. You cut out the pithy core, and you see those seeds right there? There's zero mess here. When I see people like chop into the middle of a bell pepper, I'm like, you literally just created a mess for yourself. Why would you do that? So this is what we're doing. We're cutting the core out. Of course, you can snip off. This last part's gonna be a little awkward because of the angle there. For the most part, I got that, even with the awkward angle. Isn't that beautiful? Love that little hack there. I do need to pull this pithy part off. You just pull it off. It peels right off. Yes, Cody, just a minute. So again, I'm just gonna cut into strips. Keep your fingers down. And then I'll cut the strips into kind of bite-sized pieces. So that's how I cut a bell pepper so that I don't end up with a ginormous mess. And I'm gonna let Cody in so he'll stop barking at me. All right. Oh, the neighbor dogs. They just ran off because the neighbor dogs came in. All right. Next thing I want to teach you about making a curry at home is I highly recommend you use a 1-to-1 combination of 2 ingredients. Okay, so let me show these to you now. I want you to use coconut milk, full fat. There is a light version, okay? You're gonna want the full version, and coconut cream, okay? This isn't a brand thing. You can see these are different brands. This is just what my store had. The cream is thicker, and it just makes the consistency better when you do 2 together. Of course, if you don't have the cream, you could do 2 of these or 2 lights. But if you want the best consistency and base for your curry, it needs to be this combination, 1 can, 1 can. This will make enough. This will actually feed the 6 of us. It's plenty for 4 adult servings plus some, especially when we're gonna add the rice. So I'm gonna open these. The next thing you need to know about these is if they are solid, that is okay. I'll show you. It will thin out, okay? Let me actually use a spoon. I'm gonna use a spatula when I go to actually make this. So what's gonna happen here is this is like solid, but underneath at the bottom, let's see if I can pull any up, oh, you can't see it very well. Sorry, I was hoping you could see this better. It's the liquidy part. It's kind of clear. I don't know if you can see that clear in the middle of that. This is all going to smooth out when we heat this up. So both cans are gonna probably have that thicker layer. You can see the thicker layer on the top, but we're gonna spoon all of that into the pot, whisk it all together, and as it heats up, it will thin out to the consistency that you need it to be, okay? So that's that. The next thing you need to know is you're gonna wanna use a combination of spice, curry powder, and curry paste. This is gonna be up to your taste preference, okay? This is a very mild, this is the Thai Kitchen brand. This is the green one because that's what my store had. I think I would prefer the red curry with this, but it's gonna be fine with the green. And this is not super spicy. It's really up to you. You can add however much you want. I start with 3 tablespoons of paste and a tablespoon of powder and then go from there. Of course, you can always add a little bit more spice to individual bowls if somebody wanted like a spice level 5, like if you were at a restaurant, right? You can tell them you want the spiciest. Or 10, depending on the restaurant. 5 or 10. But my favorite little Thai place, they go up to 5. So, all right, the last, let's see, I'm gonna drain the pineapple. We're gonna get all these ingredients together so we can just quickly toss all this into the pot. I'm featuring this because 1, it's delicious. It's inspired by a curry that I had at a restaurant in Pittsburgh when I was helping my sister with her newborn son. Austin and I went up there to hang out when he was a baby and to help give her a break at night and all that. And we had this and I thought, oh, I have to make this. It's a little bit more than $5, like I said, but I know it's gonna be super delicious and super great. So, and the last thing I need to do is cut up chicken. I found some chicken in the freezer. So I'm gonna cut this. I think there's probably, you could do 2 things with the chicken. You could slice it very thin. Daisy's like, hey, I wanna be famous. You could actually, you know what, I am going to cut it. It's still slightly frozen. So you could do two things with this. You could cut it into bite-sized pieces, or you could kind of cut it really thin, if you will. Here, let me do a shiftaroo here. Ooh. All right, so I'm just gonna cut this. Since it's still partially frozen, this is just chicken that I had in the freezer. It's probably a little over a pound. These are chicken tenderloins, so they'll be really soft and delicious in this curry. And I'm just going to slice it down, and then once it goes into the pot, I'll give it time to cook through. So again, this is one of the low cook recipes that I mentioned in last week's Aaron Chase show. And we were talking about those because we need options that aren't going to heat up the kitchen. They're not going to take forever to cook. I love a good curry because you can kind of, this is a copycat after that place that I went with my sister. But really you can toss pretty much any protein from shrimp to beef to pork cubes to tofu, like whatever protein with whatever vegetables, and either a red or green curry kind of base. Super easy to do at home. All right, let me just wash up real quick and then we'll start assembling this curry. All right, so if you're just joining us, this is my Dinner Made Easy show. Is normally on Thursdays, but I'm here on Wednesday because I will be with my son tomorrow all day, so I couldn't do live. I've already cooked some rice in the Instant Pot, and now we are going to put together this curry, and it's super fast and easy to do once we have all the ingredients ready. I kind of talked you through a lot of this, teaching you some of these things. So let's see. All right, let me tilt this way so you can see. So you can see the rice is here. This is here. Okay, to start this out, we need to whisk together the cream and the cream and the coconut milk. Okay, and I shared with you already why we like to do that combination of the two. I want all this goodness. I'm going to scrape these cans out with my plastic scraper as best as I can. Actually, this is a silicone scraper. I want every bit of this goodness. Here goes the cream. Again, the consistency of the cream just helps thicken it up. A quick note about that. Hang on, let me get this going. Okay. Yeeps. Whisk tried to jump at me. Okay, now that is fairly thick, but it is going to thin out when we add the chicken and the vegetables. And I did drain the pineapple, but that's still going to add a little bit of liquid there, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is mix in the paste and the powder, so the curry paste and the curry powder. But before I do that, I have to tell you about this. I didn't mention this earlier. This is unsweetened coconut cream. Super fun fact. They also sell cream of coconut, which is what you would use to make a pina colada, laced with sugar. You do not want to use that kind, okay? So if you're searching for it and you see something with like a fruity drink or a pineapple or something, that is not what we're looking for. We're looking for the coconut cream that's going to be the base of our curry. Alrighty, so 3 tablespoons. I'm actually going to use a knife because this is thin. 3 tablespoons of curry paste. This just gets stored in your refrigerator for the next time that you make a curry. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of curry powder. And again, this is to taste. Neither of these are very spicy. There's a little bit of heat to them. There are a couple of brands that are much spicier. So you just kind of have to experiment and explore with the different options, but I have found that just the curry powder from the store, and then this is also just a pretty mild, it's got enough flavor, but it's not like gonna send your taste buds on a wild ride. So we're just gonna whisk that in. If you're using red curry paste, it's gonna be a gorgeous orange color, field trip. If it's the green paste, it's gonna have that very pale green. You can kind of see that against the blue of the pot, but it's this pale green. It smells fabulous. Okay, now the next thing that we're gonna do, and then we're gonna put all this together, and then we're gonna let it simmer for 15 minutes, probably long enough to cook all this chicken. Okay, so I'm gonna add in, oh, I need to do garlic. Sorry, my bad. Garlic. A teaspoon of garlic and a teaspoon of ground ginger. We'll whisk that in, and then we'll put in all the veggies and the chicken. Okay. Sorry about that. I got ahead of myself. So we're just whisking coconut cream, coconut milk, curry paste, curry powder, and then the ginger and the garlic, just to give it a little extra little flavor lift there. We're gonna add the peppers in there. Those really only need 5 to 7 minutes to cook down. They'll release a little bit of liquid to thin out that sauce a little bit. Then we're gonna add in the pineapple. It's just a touch of sweetness. It's a nice balance to the heat of the curry. Again, the curry is not super spicy, and of course you can explore flavors as you wish. All right, we're still got a little cream on here. All right, and now I'm gonna add that chicken, and then I'm gonna put the lid on, and I'm gonna just let it simmer. And that's dinner. Super easy, super fast, low cook. Love that. All right, the chicken is going in. Again, this chicken is partially frozen, so I will have to simmer this a little bit longer. Oops. Some of that curry wanted to jump ship. Oh, this looks fabulous. Okay, let me bring you over one more time. So you can see, it's got beautiful colors with that red bell pepper. The green pepper with the green sauce is lovely. There it is. So this just needs to simmer long enough to cook that chicken through. Again, that's going to be 10 to 15 minutes depending on how big the chicken pieces are. And then we're going to serve it with that rice right over there. I feel like you're crooked there. All right. Let us see. And then I'm going to give you a quick recap. All right, I'm just making sure we're good to go. Okay, put this on so that it can simmer. I don't want any heat to escape. I want that to be nice and a nice consistency. I don't want too much of that liquid or the base of the coconut milk there to steam off. I don't want that to happen at all. Okay, recapping. This is a copycat chicken pineapple curry inspired by an amazing curry I had when I was with my sister a couple years ago. That was more than a couple years ago. That was like 7 years ago, which is crazy. Okay, so how we make this. The first thing I did actually was get the rice going. So this rice is already released, nice and steamy there. Oh wait, do y'all know this trick? I didn't even do it because it was so tucked under here. Do y'all know about this? Do you know about that? Can you see that? You just like, if your Instant Pot has little holes in the handles, you can hang your lid there, and like there is condensation underneath of the lid, but it's not so much that it's gonna like, how about that? Somebody take a screenshot of that. I'm really bad at mirroring, you guys. Isn't that handy? So then the steam can escape. There's like condensation. It kind of pools down here, but it'll kind of dry off because this is hot, so it dries off very quickly. So this rice is ready to go. So we'll just let this sit over here until everything else is ready. How about that? Isn't that handy? So the rice will be the base. So we'll put the rice into the base of the bowls. And then, actually, I'm just going to start doing that now while I'm giving you the recap. So we're going to put the rice into the base of the bowl. And then once the rice is in there, sorry to be, all right. And then you can ladle, just to use a soup ladle. Once that chicken is cooked through, just use that soup ladle, that good sticky rice, kind of that fake out, take out. This is a good base. And then the curry goes right on top, and you have this beautiful, it ends up being a one bowl. We're cooking it in 2 pots, but it's a 1 bowl dinner right here with the curry. So let me give you the recap super quick. Again, that steamed rice, any white rice, brown rice will work too. And then we did this right here in this pot. Whisk together a can of coconut milk and a can of coconut cream. Again, it's the kind that doesn't have sugar. You don't want to make like a pina colada curry. That's not what we're trying to do here. So you want that unsweetened coconut cream and the unsweetened coconut milk. I love that combination together. You could do 2 coconut milks if that's all that your store has. Just use 2 cans of that. Then we whisked in 3 tablespoons of curry paste and a tablespoon of curry powder. You can adjust those to your taste preferences if you like. Obviously err on the side of less and then add more after it's been simmering for a little bit. But letting it simmer for 10-15 minutes is going to give that time for the flavors to kind of mix and marry and mingle in the pot. Then we added a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of ground ginger, just to give it a little extra flavor left. Then we mixed in the red bell pepper and the green bell pepper, the 15-ounce can of pineapple chunks. Those were also in their juices, so no extra sugar. We don't want this to be too sweet. Just the pineapple itself is going to bring that nice sweetness that's going to balance that curry, a little bit of heat from the curry. And then we added in about a pound of chicken. I cut it up into bite-sized pieces. I was just using some chicken tenderloins that I found in the freezer. So that is what is happening here. I'm gonna let that simmer probably for about 15 minutes. I wanna make sure to have enough time for that frozen chicken to cook. If you're using fresh chicken, you're really only gonna need probably 8 to 10 minutes. And that's why this is a low cook, because we aren't gonna be heating our kitchen up too much. Could you make this in the slow cooker? 100%. Do exactly like we just added everything in there. High for 4 hours, low for 8 hours. You might want to add, if I did it that way, I would add a 1/4 cup of chicken stock just to thin out the curry a little bit, because a little bit more heat will escape from the sides of your slow cooker when it's slow cooking all day. You can also make this in the Instant Pot. I will have that recipe up on the blog here very shortly. So if you wanted to do the curry in the Instant Pot, doing it that way, the heat and the pressure are going to really infuse a beautiful flavor in your curry sauce, the base. So you'll end up with a gorgeous meal if you cook it in the Instant Pot as well. If you really don't want to heat up your kitchen, you could do it that way. I will share the link to that here onto the Facebook page a little bit later today, and I'll put a link here on the video as well. Once it is ready, it's almost finished. So that is that. So that is a copycat chicken pineapple curry. Low cook, only takes a couple minutes to cook. We're not heating up the whole house. We're eating dinner at home. We're not driving around town. Anything we can do to not drive around town. Is it just me? It's just me. Oh, it's not just me. It's everybody. I know this is brutal. If you need to be eating more at home, we have so many recipes for you. We have so many learn how to cook videos for you. We're here to help you, through this tough season. $5 Dinners was actually born in the recession of 2008. And here we are, 13 years later? It's a real similar environment, friends, and I want to be here to help you. We have, of course, 13 years of things that we have created, and so I want that to be of assistance to you. So be sure to take a minute to explore, look at some of the different videos we have, go check out the recipe index, all the things we want to help you through this tough time. So that is what I got for you this week, my friend, on this week's episode of the Dinner Made Easy Show. Next week, I'll be back with Aaron Chase on Tuesday and Dinner Made Easy on Thursday. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, a beautiful weekend, and I'll see you soon.